Howdy, and welcome back to another episode with the Tiburon. I'm Chris, and what we're trying to do today is all of the struts and the end links. With that said, let's take a quick gander. So, as you can kind of tell, as I drop my mic, hooray. Let's put that back on first. There we go. So they're a little aged. I'm assuming from the camera it looks like you can at least kind of see it. So my goal in this video is to show, which shouldn't be too challenging, show how to do the struts, more of a guide versus a step-by-step or whatever. And here's most of the parts right here. But yeah, the goal is to show everything. My plan, so I might have to get spring compressors, is take the springs from the car as it is and put those springs on the new struts. And also with that, before I forget, I'm also replacing all the top hats. So top hats in the rear, top hats in the front. But yeah, I'm going to keep the OE springs because I've seen it before and I've read it before that a lot of people don't have the best experience with replacing their struts with a spring that comes with it. It just doesn't ride the same. So, with that said, I will come back with, at least in the front, we will have this removed on both sides, and hopefully this end link replaced. Yeah, end link replaced, and 2 bolts replaced, or removed. And removed. Not replaced, just removed. So that's where we're at. Oh, and also the brake line right here. We're going to have this disconnected from the strut. So yeah, we'll be back with more work shown. Yeah, there we go. Stuff and things. Hooray! And here we are with a quick little stopper to show the progress. And I have light, so hopefully this will be useful. I disconnected the end link. Since I'm doing the strut, I'm not disconnecting the top of the end link because that can come out with it. The stock end links, you have to grab the inside. Let's see if I can get a little closer. You have to grab the inside with something, which I believe was a 14 millimeter wrench. Problem is it didn't grab well, so I used a vice grip. And then a 14 millimeter nut, and just had to keep twisting it until it came loose. I did use deep creep and let it sit for a bit. And if you can't tell, I mangled the crap out of it. So yeah, that one was frustrating. Here we have stock struts, bolts. This end was a 19 millimeter nut. And if I recall, this side is 17 mil. Let me get the camera up there a little. The inside was 17 millimeter. So keep that in mind. But yeah, that wasn't too challenging. There's a lot of rust here, so I'm planning on using a rubber mallet to, just knock them out. But yeah, 2 nuts and bolts here. And I've got the cover off here. I've already loosened these just so it'll be easier. But yeah, loosen these, undo those 2 bolts, and then should be easy enough to replace. I will come back with the new struts and old springs all assembled. So yeah, fun. Here's a quick little side note. Learn to check your tools when you have an assortment of things. Because I just went to Harbor Freight and I bought some spring compressing tools. It wasn't until I got home that I'm like going, do I have a set of these? Now, if you can read upside down, you're gonna realize I did have a set. Learn to check, because when you don't use something very often, you can forget, apparently, or at least I can. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna get back to work. And guess what? We got some dark, but we are done. We've got the bolts in for the strut. We've got the end link in. So this one uses a 5 Allen wrench for the inner nut, or for the stud part. The stud is a 5 on the inside, and then the bolt part, the bolt part like this, is a 17. For anyone who's ever done it before, you understand what I'm talking about. But I will show you. No, I won't, because I threw one of the boxes away. Anyway, Rock Auto. You can find all this stuff. Oh, and I meant to make a correction. Earlier I talked about reusing stock springs. Well, I did reuse them, but I did not order a set of struts with the springs. I knew I couldn't have been that much of an idiot, but it was possible. So yeah, here's the old struts. Here's the spring compressors. And yeah. Oh yeah, top hat. If anyone wants to know the part numbers, feel free to ask. But I like new top hats because, they look so nice and shiny, even though it will be covered. So with that said, we are going to start working on her ass. And I can already tell you one thing I'm not going to like is... well, if you can kind of tell, so the front, the brake lines, everything else were screwed in via a bracket. This is not looking that way for my quick, yeah. This is kind of like it's pressed or pressure fit, whatever. So it's going to be a pain in my ass to remove that. The rest of it looks pretty standard. You've got your 2 studs and bolts right there. You've got your end link that I am replacing. And once I open up the hatch and get that exposed, I'll show you that. Anyway, be back shortly. And here we are, back with the top part of the strut. And just a simple breakdown. You remove that top part over there, the shelf, and this was only held on by 2 things. This, which I'm assuming seems a little overcomplicated unless it's designed this way for holding that up. But then, for at least this side, if you have an amp, a bolt held it in. It's probably similar over there, or just a, like a plastic pin, whatever. But as you can see down there, 3 bolts making a triangle. So, should be kind of simple to get to. I mean, I might have to do some extended bolts. It looks like a 12, or some extended thingies or tools or whatever. But I'm going to start taking this apart. You get the general gist. Let's start working. And here's where we're at. I've loosened up those nuts. I'm pretty sure I covered that before. Everything I show you now is on both sides, as an example. So, I wanted to give a little tidbit One, these are loose. Yay, great. Or, well, the nuts are removed. Bolts just have to come out. The end link. Looked at a video that said, hey, 14 millimeter wrench on the inside. So that would be like there. And 14 millimeter socket there. Yeah. On an old car, that just doesn't work. More or less, for me, I kept rounding out the inside 14 millimeter. So what I ended up doing is cutting. You need to be careful not to cause any damage to a sway bar, but that was fine. It ended up working just fine. And got the brake line removed. So yeah, I will go about replacing this, like, doing all that jazz. And I'll show you more status as we go. And welcome back to my finished struts job. We'll give you a close-up of my Havoc, but also a completion. Now, I still have to put these completely back because I just realized I did not do that. But that's not a big deal. This looks the same on both sides. Annoyance, I will point out, I ordered from Rock Auto the same end links, a left and a right. And I did not get the exact brand and type. What I ended up with is on this side, a 14 and a 14 on the back. On the other side, my end link is a 17, I believe it's a 17 nut with a 14 back. I mean, yeah, it's a small thing, but it's annoying. So yeah, besides that, I also learned, but I'm not going to address it now. And I don't know if this is a common issue for those of you still with me. Apparently, the passenger side of this car developed a sag. And I never really... sorry, rake is falling. I never really noticed until now. So this is all, like, pretty much assembled. But what I noticed is that when I took the strut off and was working on everything, there was no pressure with the spring. Like, I was able to take the spring off without using a spring compressor. So has anyone ever noticed, the rear end squatting on its own? And while I'm here, again, for any of you still here, have any of you, because I can't find anything online, any of you ever had an issue with the leather on the door card pulling away? Because, yeah, you can tell. I mean, I might just go try and find a new door card, but I'd really hate to waste this one. But anyway, that's it for this little portion. Gives you some visibility. I'm hoping maybe useful. We'll find out. But thank you for making it this far. Have a good day. Bye-bye.